Alright everybody, now welcome back to the YouTube channel everybody. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, but not that different. Today this video is coming straight to you from my office. This is my Zen place, my place of peace. But that's not why we're here today. Today I'm going to tell you guys why the NA SR20DE might be a better option than your SR20DET. Quick disclaimer. I am not saying that the SR20DET is a bad engine or that you shouldn't buy it, or that I'm saying it is better than your NA SR20DE. I'm just trying to tell you guys why you may justify buying an NA SR versus the SR20DET. Just a little bit of background knowledge before we talk about that. First of all, you have the Silvia Qs and the Silvia Ks, both from Japan, obviously. Your Silvia Q stands for Silvia Queens, right? Silvia Qs came with the NA SR20DE. Then you have your Silvia Ks, which Silvia Kings came with your SR20DET. Let's get right into it. Number one, the price. Money. Now money talks, money is everything. The price has got to be number one, right? Now speaking from first-hand experience, I know that an NA SR S14 is a lot cheaper than an SR20DET Silvia K's S14, right? I bought my S14 for around $1,400. Here's the picture of the listing when it was up. Now you see Silvia K's going for like upwards of 20 grand, all just because they have a turbo. That's a 6 grand difference. With that money, you could buy my S14. You could take that extra 6 grand, go ahead and turbo the NASR and make it an insane turbo build if you really wanted to throw a turbo in there. Even Jimmy Oaks, who's a pretty popular YouTuber, has an NASR and he went ahead and turboed it, made it look super easy, and went ahead and doubled his horsepower on the NASR. Now, if you're just looking to buy the engine because you want to do a swap or drop it in one of your shelves for whatever reason, here's the turbo model engine and here's the NA engine, right? In my opinion, you can justify paying the price for the NA versus the turbo model, just because you can take that extra money and go ahead and turbo your NASR. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. For those of you who don't know, there are slight differences talking about the compression ratio from the NA is a 10-to-1, whereas the turbo model is 9-to-1. Running higher compression, you gotta be careful because you can cause your engine to explode. But if you got a good tune, there's nothing to worry about, I promise. Nothing to worry about, I promise. The turbo model does have a bit of stronger rods and does come with oil squirters for the pistons, but that does not stop you from putting a big old single on your NASR, I promise you. Coming at number two, which I kind of already just said this, but the compression ratio. Now I know you gotta be careful because you can explode your engine. Like that's a decently high compression ratio and it's not your typical, so if you are careful, if you get a good tune, you can do it safely. Nothing to worry about, I promise. But I'm gonna tell you why that high compression ratio can kind of be a good thing, right? Now I'm not by any means am I an expert on engines, right? But I know a higher compression ratio can cause that turbo to spool faster, and if that turbo is spooling faster, you're getting off that line quicker, right? Now it just comes down to what turbo you have, how big it is, how small it is, how much PSI you're pushing at the turbo. Obviously, it gets a little bit more intricate down the line. What I'm trying to say is a higher compression ratio is not always a bad thing. In fact, if you're really serious about running a turbo on your NASR, there's a bunch of guys in the Facebook groups who are pushing well over 400, 450, 500 horsepower on NASRs. Go ahead, just throw in some E85, keep that compression ratio down, you can turn up the boost and you can be pushing some really big numbers. Here's an example. Another reason for number three is the availability. SR20DETs are just going left and right. In today's market, JDM, anything is just going through the roof, like absolutely insane. If you would have had a turbo model SR20 just a couple years ago and held it now, it's almost like Bitcoin. Like it's going through the roof right now. I feel like a lot of these NASRs are just getting passed up on just because they don't have that turbo. I find a bunch on Facebook, on the internet. Obviously I found mine. JDM importers are even just selling them at a lower price just because they know they're not as sought after as its SR20DET brother. But I'm telling you guys, even if you guys really wanted an import and you don't care that it's not the SR20DET, go ahead, pick you up a little NASR, and then in the future, like your boy or Jimmy Oaks, go ahead and turbo it in the future. Now, a lot of you out there probably don't know where to even start when turboing a car. I've never turboed a car, but hopefully in the future, I don't know. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. But I'd like to turbo a car too. Obviously, my NA SR is a perfect example. So if you don't know how to do it, and if that's one of the reasons that might be holding you back on one of these SRs, there's tons of forums that explain how to do so. Here's a picture of one complete write-up, top to bottom, on how to turbo your NA SR. He did an amazing write-up. I'll go ahead and leave a link down below in the description. You guys can go ahead and check it out. He tells you everything you need to know, what to do, how to even tune the car for your NA SR to push reliable boost, get some reliable horsepower,
more power, man,
and have a good time with your NA SR. He even mentioned how he took it to a full weekend of drifting and he had no issues whatsoever. So I promise you guys, these SRs are reliable. And I guess for number 5, just the last one, it's still a great platform for drifting. I know a lot of people love to use these SR20s for the capability when it comes to drifting and sliding, and they're amazing on the track. You cannot go wrong with an SR. I know the SR20DET gets a lot of love and a lot of attention, and not the NA SR so much. But that's just because there is the turbo model option. I know years ago, people would just like scrap the NA SR, go ahead and pick up an SR20DET, just because the prices were affordable back then. It is a different time and age. A lot of the forums are really outdated, especially when people are closer to my generation or even the newer generations. They don't go check out those forums too much, or a lot of them are taken down and they're not too updated. That's why I come here with these videos for you guys. I learn it, I pass it on. I know videos are a new way of digesting information. I've watched YouTube videos a lot just to learn what I'm doing or figure out something. So I'm more than happy to bring this to you guys so you guys can figure out how to turbo your NA SR. Like I said, I'll leave a link down below to the whole write-up of how to turbo your NA SR. Also, if you guys didn't know, Jimmy Oaks has done a whole series on how to turbo an NA SR. So you guys can go ahead and check that out on his channel. It's free marketing. I hope all that information kind of helped. You know, I love JDM cars, I love JDM motors, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you guys love it just as much as I do. I mean, I got my dream car sitting right on my desk one day. So if you like all that JDM content and you guys want to see more of it, go ahead and check out this video right here. It was an amazing meet, like a bunch of JDM cars, GTRs, Supras, NSX, bunch of two-stepping, flames everywhere, nice crowd, underground garage, Tokyo drift style car meet. It was absolutely insane. If you guys like this style of content, please let me know. Like, I know it took place in my room, and if you guys want a room tour and maybe like a price breakdown of my room, I can also bring that to you guys. Like I said, let me know down in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.